Hello, it's Heather Smith here and welcome to Cloud Stories. I have a special treat for you today. Alex Falcon Huerta joins me on the podcast. Alex is an incredible accountant, award-winning accountant, forward-thinking, digital growth expert, virtual financial director. She's an author and a regular speaker on the speaking circuit. She's a member of the ACCA International Assembly, won the Xero Most Valuable Player Award, and she runs the business Soaring Falcon, and she's also started an offshoring business called Smart Offshore. So Alex contacted me a few weeks ago and said she's coming to Australia, which I was extremely excited about. Hadn't seen her in about four and 5 years. And so I worked out her dates were going to be around the Newcastle Xero Roadshow. So we coordinated to meet up at the Xero Newcastle Roadshow. And what we then did, I have a little chat with Alex. And then what we did, we had a lot of fun going around the roadshow and talking to the various apps who were there in the foyer. So we spoke to Brendan Allen Klein from Ignition, James Parker from Dext, Steve Ayres from Expert, Vince from Wowzer Technology, John Munden from Business Fitness, talking about work papers, and Cam Anderson from Flavoured. And we talked to them about who they were, what their solution does, what were some of the features that have come out in the last year that we really need to know about. And we also talked to them about what were their thoughts on the Xero State of the Industry report, which was the first sort of keynote of the actual Xero Roadshow session. And in Newcastle, another important reason to go to Newcastle was Hayley Brass delivered that, and she did a sensational job. So I was very excited to see Hayley and hear her deliver that report. And also to spend time with Alex. We had such a fabulous time, and I hope you enjoy this episode. It was actually inspired by Tim and Dan at the Two Drunk Accountants podcast, because they walked around XeroCon with their microphones, and I'm very, very focused on quality of the audio, but I felt that the conference noise gave the podcast energy. So I hope you appreciate that, and I hope that resonates with you as well. Please get in contact with me, get in contact with Alex, get in contact with any of the apps that we speak to if you want to find out more information, and let me know what you think of the podcast episode. Really, I'm love to hear from you. So thank you for listening. Here we go. Hey, it's Heather Smith here, and I am here with Alex Falcon Huerta, who has joined me at the Newcastle Xero Roadshow. Hey, Alex, how are you going?
Hi, Heather. How are you? I am doing amazing. Thank you. It's so lovely to be here with you.
Oh, it's so exciting to have you fly in for the Xero Roadshow all the way from, UK, but I think you flew in from Bali. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so I was based in Bali and then flew over to Sydney and then took the train over to wonderful Newcastle.
So the Xero Roadshow, they're doing 17 locations, and we're right at the beginning of the roadshow. Newcastle is one of their smaller locations. I think we've got 6 or 7 apps out in the foyer. How have you found it so far?
To be honest, when I first arrived, I thought I wasn't sure what to expect. I thought there was going to be hundreds of people because I'm in Australia. But going into the roadshow, there's a handful of people, around 300, and it feels actually really nice, like one of the early days roadshows back in the UK, where I can speak to people and the app partners.
Well, going to a smaller location does actually mean you get to spend a lot more time with the app partners, which is something quite handy. And they did actually do a poll test of the audience, and I think 58% was their very first Xero Roadshow. So
yeah, I was really surprised by that. So yeah, like in the UK, like everyone's been to roadshows like time and time again because they're like re-energized from when they go to the roadshows. And so here it's like quite a high number still of people just for their first time.
Yeah. No, and I think that we did kind of get one. Did we? We've had sort of bits and pieces. We had XeroCon in September, but maybe this is the first big one since we've had those extended lockdowns. And I think a lot of people, if they were going to jump on cloud software, would have done. And this is an opportunity to see people in real life.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess most of them would have been had that realization they needed to be cloud. And so this is their first meetup that they could get together.
Yeah. And I hope that there seems to be big groups of people from the same business all wearing the same matching shirts. And I hope that they do enjoy the event, but also break out and actually talk to the apps and see if there's opportunities there for them as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's one of the reasons why I like to come early to an event, so I get to speak to the app partners, especially the ones that I've never met or new to the market, and work out what their tool is or what they're bringing to the table, so I can look to implement that into Soaring Falcon, or even to move it to the UK, which is what I specialise in.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that. We jumped in, but let's talk about you, Alex. We're good friends, and I know what you've been doing. But tell me what you've sort of quickly over the last maybe few years. What have you been doing with your business and your life that you'd like to share with us?
I guess more importantly, Heather, I have taken the best out of what we've been given, by the world in the pandemic. So I've utilised like the travel and the cloud and the technology. Majority of my time I've actually spent travelling and spent most of my time in Bali. During that time, I set up a company in Sri Lanka where I found talent and. Where I found the talent and for what I needed for my practice in particular, because of the ACCA connection being a global qualification. I was able to then launch an offshoring company globally. So initially we started off with the UK, and now we're moving to America and to Australia and reaching out to practices who need that support, I guess. It's been a journey, as most new businesses, but it's been challenging, but it's been fun at the same time. And it's all things I know inside out.
Absolutely. And it's very exciting. You've really led the way in what you're doing in terms of you were one of the original adopters of Xero, and being an ACCA member, I frequently say accounting is a global passport, and to be able to intersect the two of ACCA and Xero, and then be able to establish a business in, I think, probably is what is known as a third world country. Sri Lanka is a very, very beautiful country, and the people there are very, very lovely. To be able to provide them with livelihoods is such a worthy thing that you're doing. So I think that's super wonderful that you're able to do that.
Thank you, Heather.
And you also have your accounting practice back in England, but that supports clients globally. And you have a special focus on, would we call it software as a solution products?
Yeah.
Is that what we'd say?
Yeah, I'd say software, so SaaS clients. Majority are overseas, but I've helped them set up in the UK, or early stages, and help them launch essentially their product into the UK market. I guess utilising my profile and having awesome friends within the industry as well. So they've been a huge support to get products out in the market.
So Alex has been out to Australia and New Zealand at least 3 times that I've caught up with you. And if you are a solution that is looking to explore the UK market, please, one of those steps is getting in contact with Alex, who can sort of point you in the right direction and support you on that journey. So we've just sat in the very initial stages of the Xero Roadshow, which talked about, they did the presentation, Hayley Bass did the presentation on the state of the industry, which I love those data-driven reports. She highlighted that 2023 will be tricky to navigate and the potential downturn is a very real possibility. What is your outlook for 2023?
I did think that the statistics were quite surprising, and I do believe that the challenges of recruitment will still exist and the talent, the challenges I had within my own practice as well, and challenges I know that other people have experienced. A lot of it has to do with people and retaining people and ensuring that people stay within accounting. I think the pandemic had a huge impact on the industry, on accounting globally, and it's something that either people are moving away from because we are deadline driven, and it's placed a lot of pressure. So I think we need to start focusing on ensuring how do we actually keep people within accounting, not just keeping people within our companies.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that you say there is this is a global issue. This is happening everywhere. And one of the ladies came up to me while I was standing at the roadshow and she goes, "What are you seeing about staffing in Brisbane?" And I'm like, the problem that's happening in Newcastle is happening in Brisbane, is happening in Austin, is happening in Bali, is happening in England. It's happening everywhere. And I think it's going to have to come back to our association somewhat to rethink the way the qualification happens, the CPE that's required, and within our businesses how we can keep them. But I guess then also requirements to meet all these deadlines.
Yeah, I think it's making, not saying that it's not fun, but it's helping people to understand the real reason why people become a qualified accountant in the first place. Most people think it's, to calculate your tax, but the things that I get involved in on a daily basis about launching into new countries, about giving valuable business advice, about freeing up director time, about allowing them to spend time with their children. These questions come to me on a daily basis, and these things aren't really highlighted about what it means to become an accountant. Yeah. And yes, absolutely. And we get to work with interesting businesses. We enjoy that, and it's a promotional campaign. There's so many little things or big things that need to happen and need to shift, and people in charge need to take responsibility. And I think there's a lot of people in the industry yelling about it. And one of the ladies was saying, a lot of the businesses seem to actually be merging just so they can get extra staff on board. Yeah, and do you see, and I think the thing is, you're actually leading the way in terms of that, in terms of, staffing issues, I'm going to start my own company. Basically, yeah.
And so it's really interesting how that's unpacking, and it will be interesting at the end of the day how you feel about whether there's any major differences in the UK and Australia, and if you think there's things happening in the UK that are better than here, and whether we can improve. Are you seeing that at all yet? I've seen some slight changes in different countries.
Yeah. We've got a hugely fast-paced environment in the UK compared to even America and Australia. And so when we hire team members, it's always explaining and showing them that people, like, we have to take care of business, and people are more hands-on. Not saying they're not in other countries, it's just that I've noticed that things need to be more faster and quicker and now approach, whereas it's a little bit more laid back in, say, Australia. An email might be able to wait for a couple of days, whereas in the UK it's kind of instant. So I've noticed that change, and I have done over the last few years. And so when we hire people, we do have an UK onboarding process to educate about UK culture and the mindset.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That because a lot of they've really been talking about the importance of well-being and the importance of pausing and giving yourself time. And what you're saying is almost opposite to that. It's just like keep going for it as fast as you can, and it will only just get faster and faster.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't put a stand to that.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, it's just, I think it's the same in most countries. Like a lot of my clients are quite a big size for what we do, and so usually when they get in touch, it's because they need something now. They've come to the accountant for their help now. And for example, it could be a matter of, am I charging the right tax on an invoice so that they can do the quote, and that quote needs to go now, because if it doesn't go now, they could lose out on that income. And so it's quite time sensitive.
Yes.
So we have to react.
Yeah.
And
it's challenging.
Yeah, it's challenging to explain sometimes to the team to help them understand that this is a requirement of what we actually need to do.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And it is really interesting. Now, what we're going to try and do is an experiment. We're going to try and go out and talk to the apps and see if we can have some conversations with them and get some of their insights. There's a few that we've never heard of before. There's a few that we're old friends with. So this just records constantly, but I will edit it.
Okay. I'm excited.
Who should we start with? Should we start with your friend at Ignition?
Yes.
Okay, but at least you'll be comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Better be there.
Okay. Oh, he's here.
We're coming to interview you.
We're coming to you.
The microphones are on. We're coming to interview you. Do you want to be at your stand?
So I should come back over.
Yeah.
Oh, this is scary. This is really scary.
Yeah, it's scary. Be scared.
You're bad enough, and then you.
I know.
Hello. Well, this is Heather again, and we are at the Ignition stand, and we are talking to Brendan.
Hi.
Hi, Brendan. Would you like to introduce yourself, let people know who you are, and let us know a little bit about your solution? Most people will know it, but...
Yeah, so my name is Brendan Allen. I am the Senior Account Manager here at Ignition, and we offer a really good solution for accountants and bookkeepers and anyone else in terms of client onboarding. So if you have a fairly complicated and disjointed client onboarding platform at the moment, then we can help. We can offer you and your clients a quick and easy way to sign their engagement letters, sign their contracts, sign their proposals with an inbuilt payment gateway as well, so that when they do sign their agreements, they can drop in their payment details and you don't have to worry about chasing up payments ever again.
Excellent. Can we move away from the zeros who are making a lot of zero-y noise?
Noisy zero.
I know.
Can I ask you, what are the new features and functionalities that have come out in the last year?
Oh, a lot, actually. A lot of stuff has come out in the last few years.
What's the biggest bang?
My favourite one is actually all about what happens after the proposal is accepted. So previously, when a proposal was accepted, if you needed to make a small change to that proposal, you would have to basically do a whole new proposal. We've got a great new feature called service edits, which means if there's a small service in a proposal that needs to be changed or amended, you can actually do that without having to redo the whole proposal. You can come in, edit the service, change the price, change the schedule, change the whole service altogether, add elements, remove elements, basically do anything to that service without having to really change the proposal at all.
Amazing. I'm so happy to hear that news.
A lot of people are.
Now, if you have any questions, Alex, you jump in as well. Do you know, are you able to give us any secrets? Because no one is listening to this. What features and functionalities do you have planned for 2023 release?
Oh, okay. Hopefully none of my product team are listening. We're actually going to see a lot more of pretty much what I just said there. So a lot more of after proposal acceptance work, so that giving you a lot more flexibility to manage services, manage scope, manage payments after the acceptance. We're looking at things like ad hoc services, so that if anything comes up that is out of scope, and it's always been a big thing of ours is managing scope creep, you can actually manage that through Ignition without having to really go through any other platform, because it's all in one place. That's what we're going to double down on, and making sure that you have control over the scope of your services as they change.
I have a request for a feature.
Do you have a request?
Yeah.
Well, go on.
So, scope creep. Since you talk about scope creep.
We do.
So how cool would it be if practice ignition, or ignition, I'm sorry.
Put some money in the square jar.
Here you go. If it recorded or tracked transactions in Xero so that it would tell me that my prices need to increase.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
I think so too.
I think that's a great idea. We should get that into our product team.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
I'll do that for you.
2023?
And any other suggestions anyone's got, send them my way. We'll get them logged. We do listen. Actually, I wanted to shout out the product team. We do have monthly product forums where the CX team, so the customer-facing team, meets directly with the product team for this kind of stuff exactly. So if you're out there and you have any product requests, please send them our way. We do listen. We do pass them on.
I'm interested to know, you moved from the name Practice Ignition to Ignition with the vision that you were moving not only to servicing accounting practices but to serving other practices. Have you seen a growth in other industries? And are you seeing accountants or bookkeepers actually providing app advisory and getting Ignition into their clients?
Yes, and yes. All of those things. So, yes, we have officially now started to look at other verticals. We absolutely adore accountants and bookkeepers, as you all know. But if you think about the opportunity there for both Ignition and for our current customers, there's a massive referral network there. And yes, a good segue into the fact that we have started to work with a lot of our existing partners to leverage off their client bases to then sell and promote and implement Ignition into their own businesses. So we've seen interest from the likes of digital agencies, law firms, many other professional services are starting to really take attention to Ignition and understand that, you know, it's even something as simple as receiving an Ignition proposal from their accountant or bookkeeper and saying, what is this? Can I have this? Yes, you can. So I would recommend either talking to us or talking to your accountant or bookkeeper and put us in touch, and we'll do all the heavy lifting. We also have a referral program too, so make sure you look into that.
Do you like referral programs, Alex?
Yes, I do.
Do you?
I have my link already.
Excellent. Well, it's another way to make extra money, especially as we've just listened to the 2023 State of the Industry, and they're really highlighting that they're seeing a potential downturn is a real possibility. So having these additional income streams is something out there. Do you have any other questions for Brendan, Alex?
I think that's enough for today.
Brendan, how can people get in contact with Ignition? How can they get in contact with you?
Ignitionapp.com is the best place to go. You can book in a demo if you haven't used Ignition app before. Otherwise, you can reach out to us. I'm Brendan at ignitionapp.com, BRENDAN. Just come straight through to me and we'll sort you out.
Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Brendan.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well done.
Good.
Well done.
Yeah, it's really good.
Thank you. Are you ready to talk to us, James? James,
what can I talk to you about?
it's recording. The recording is on, and you know Alex. Okay, so hello, James Parker from Dex. We're here at the Newcastle Roadshow, and you're here in your hometown, showcasing Dex. Tell us about Dex. Tell us who you are, and tell us a little bit about Dex. But I know that many people listening in will know, but go on, give us a spiel.
Okay, so I'm James Parker. I'm the APAC General Manager for Dext, looking after this region. So Dext, obviously used to previously be called Receipt Bank. People know us in their region. Branded a couple of years ago to Dext. Really, now we look after inception of data for accounting data into the accounting systems, and then actually checking to validate, making sure that the data that's been put into the back-end accounting system is accurate. We've got multiple ways of how we incept that data. So we've got our Prepare product that incepts invoices and receipts and e-invoices. and we've got our commerce product that incepts data from the shop front platforms like Amazon, Etsy, Shopify, etc. And obviously it's about extraction of that data and categorizing it and making sure that it's populated into the back-end accounting system in a correct manner, but also automating that as much as possible for the accountants and bookkeepers out there. So really trying to make sure they're maximising their workflow and maximising their time to give them that time back so that they can spend it on more advisory type services, more value add services. So that's Dext in a nutshell at a 36,000 foot. Obviously, we've got a whole new suite of products that has come out more recently. So we've got the Prepare, the Precision and Commerce products. If you're more than happy to talk to us, well, we're more than happy to talk to you about how we can streamline your processes.
Awesome. Do you have any questions?
I mean, I've been using Dex since the beginning of time when it was, and absolutely love the product. So what new features are coming up?
Good question.
That we could use and implement into our practices.
Yeah, look, I think depending on where you are in what region, but in Australia more recently we've implemented a new ABN check-in feature. So when invoices come through, we extract the ABN. And what we do is we validate to make sure that that's a valid ABN. If it's an ABN that's already populated in Xero, we'll check to make sure it matches. If it doesn't, we'll highlight that. If there is no ABN in Xero, we'll pre-populate it for you, so saving you that time of adding that check. With our Precision product, we go even further and we actually make sure that the ABN is actually registered for GST as well. So we do a GST registered check, which really adds value for when people are doing things like BAS returns to make sure that the data that they're using is correct, which is obviously more important for those people doing the tax returns.
So for people globally listening in, ABN is our Australian business number, which tells whether we're registered for tax and whether we're registered for GST. So Alex is from England. Are you able to highlight any of the new features coming out for the UK partners?
Yeah, look, so one that really springs to mind, and it's a global one, is our client view in our optimise package, which is in the Prepare. So we've got two levels. One is a streamline and the other one is the optimise. Optimise is the higher bundle. One of the features in there is our client views, which gives you really good visibility across all of your clients in one single dashboard. So that's really good across the globe. For the UK, in one of our other products, in Precision, for example, we've got an integration with the HMRC, which is the Australian equivalent of ATO. Her Majesty's Revenue Customs. So for integration with that, so we've got key dates, so when submissions need to be done, so it actually plans out when those dates need to be when those documents and data needs to be submitted. You can use that within our Precision tool.
Oh wow. And is that now?
That's now. That is now
wow.
available.
I did not
had no idea about that. Wow, there, look at this. You're finding out on the ground here in Newcastle, finding out things that are happening in the UK. That's a really interesting feature functionality. So thank you for sharing that with us. Do you have any other questions there?
None for me.
So in the room, they're talking about the state of the industry with a new report that Xero drops from based on their data analysis. They're talking about 2023 showing sort of real potential downturn, and that 79% of clients are relying on accountants and bookkeepers for more service and support beyond the traditional offerings. So how does your solution help them offer non-traditional offerings?
Look, I think the main benefit of using Dext is actually delivering time back. So it's about the time saving that bookkeepers and accountants can get by using our services and products. That then allows them to move into those more value-added services that they can offer their clients. As more and more pressure comes on them to deliver different types of services, they are going to need time. So using our products, we can deliver that time back. There is a massive amount of cost savings and time saving that they can use. Yes, there's a fee, but that fee is offset by the amount of time that they will save by using the Dext solutions. We know that there's going to be regulatory changes that are going to be coming through as the COVID the grants will roll off. The amount of time that it's taking bookkeepers and accountants to do the normal traditional day-to-day services, they need to save time. They need to start looking at where they can add more value back into their clients in order that they can help them survive this downturn.
And visual question. You've moved back into the orange T-shirts. Is this so we can find you again?
Yeah, look, I think we're definitely going back to the Orange Army from an APAC perspective. So yes, you will see us around at all of the events, and we will be donning the orange T-shirts.
The Orange Army has returned. That should be your logo up there. Thank you so much, James, for chatting with Alex and I at the Newcastle Xero Roadshow.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you so much.
Fun. That was good.
Fire away.
Hey, I'm here at the expert stand, and I'm here speaking to Steve Ayres. Hi, Steve.
Hello, Heather. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Steve, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what Expert does?
Right. So I suppose Expert is a data quality and workflow automation system. We're connecting into Xero and analysing all of your files every day, multiple times a day, to look for any sort of anomalies or issues or discrepancies in the books. And we're all about trying to get to a clean set of books. We're very big on data quality, and we want to automate the way that you can see those issues and automatically resolve them as well.
And so what is your role at Expert?
I'm the data scientist, perhaps the chief data scientist, you might say.
Did you just give yourself that title?
There'll be another fellow that probably will debate me on that one, shall we say.
He's not being interviewed, so...
So I'm very much responsible for a lot of the, I guess you'd say, the thought and the understanding of what goes into the algorithms and what we need to train the AI on in terms of actually finding these data quality issues. So I sort of moonlight a little bit as a business analyst and a writer as well, but certainly the data side is the passion and where a lot of the focus is.
So you were one of these people who was at school doing maths, learning about algorithms, and were you going, I'm never going to use algorithms, or were you saying, I love algorithms?
Oh, look, maths was always maths and was never really where's this going to fit in the real world until, a little bit down the track, and you see how things actually fit together, and you've got the tools to do it, and the other, the software that we can use to build basically these super automated time-saving checks.
Based on algorithms.
That's right.
So before I get into the serious hard questions, let's share with the audience who are listening in, who are around the world, whereabouts Expert is based.
So we're based in the north coast or mid-north coast region of New South Wales in Australia. It's a lovely beachside town, beautiful mountains in the background. A lot of us at the office will surf. I'm quite big into the mountain biking as well. We've got a fantastic sort of lifestyle coupled with a good base for a software company.
Must be the best location to develop software.
Yeah, voted best climate in the world, I believe.
Very good, very good. Do you have any questions, Alex?
Yeah, I do. So when you pull all the data, is there anything in particular that keeps coming up time and time again for the searches?
Lots to do with sort of the tax and end of month, end of quarter, jobs that bookkeepers and ultimately accountants do as well. So we're always finding issues that need fixing. A lot of them are things that people don't even know need fixing, but we find them. We're always finding them every month. We're always finding duplicates and wrong supplier details and, issues with payroll, people perhaps not getting paid the right amount, which is obviously a big concern. So, lots and lots of checks that we have. I think it's over 70 at the moment, and there's probably a core set of 20 to 30 of those that we just see all the time.
So, in last year, what were some of the key features and functionalities that you brought out that are like standouts that they're shouting from the rooftop about?
So, very, very, I suppose, key to last year was the auto-resolve functionality. So, it's one thing to sort of find issues, and a lot of work goes into actually finding the issues. Probably the biggest component to the product. But if you can just make that next step a bit easier, so instead of having to log into Xero and go, okay, well I do need to make that change or fix that transaction or whatever it might be, if you can just be in one spot and then have that go through automatically to Xero for you, then even better. So auto resolve we put in last year, that was I'd say a standout feature. We're always building new checks, so we might have started last year at 50 checks, now there's 70 plus. So we're always building, a lot more reporting as well, and the application itself, it's always getting refreshed in terms of usability. As we add features, we're very, very careful to make sure that we don't overwhelm, and we put them in a way that
You actually rapidly bring out new features, and I see the community asking for things, and Expert brings them out fast. You also do it in a visually stunning way.
Yeah, thanks, Heather. We do pride ourselves on that, and you'd be surprised at the let's call it banter in the office about how we actually arrive at what we think is the best. Obviously, we're getting feedback from real people using the product as well. But look, we've got a great design team. We've got a great marketing team as well that help, not advise, but let people know of what's coming and to get that feedback and make sure it's a usable product in the end.
So we're at the Xero Roadshow, and we've seen a report up on stage, the State of the Industry report, and it said that 79% of our clients, our accounting and bookkeeping clients, are relying on accountants and bookkeepers for more services and support beyond traditional offerings. So how does your solution help the accountants and bookkeepers by offering non-traditional offerings?
Okay. So I would say let's get rid of some of that more mundane work and some of the work that is perhaps a bit difficult to actually even know that you need to do. Let Expert handle that, so that you can be enabled. You've got your whatever headcount you've got. Let's get that those resources at your firm working on some of the more high-end everything from advisory down. So even if it's just more client engagement, if you're not having to constantly cover off all these mundane jobs, digging through receipts and trying to match up supplier details with ABNs, and just take all that off the table so you can open up that possibility to do other work.
Thank you for that. Do you have any other questions there, Alex?
Yes, I do. So, Steve, as you know, I'm UK based. Where is Expert going to be in terms of the UK market?
Well, what we're wanting to do in the UK market is to understand a lot more of the detail around some of the checks that we'd like to do in that market. So, as we spoke about before, there's lots of checks for Australia. There are UK, there's also South African specific checks as well. So we want to actually build that out, and we think that'll make Expert far more valuable in the UK market, and obviously working with UK-based firms over there to do that, so that we've got that local knowledge that is a bit harder to come by in Australia.
So you're open to UK firms contacting you now?
Oh, most definitely, yeah. And we do have some UK firms already. I think we're even got a very early morning call with one of them tomorrow morning. So we'll see how that goes. And very open to hearing from our UK.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Steve, for talking with us today. How can people get in contact with you and with Expert?
Oh, look, as always, just head to the Expert website, which is expert.io. All the information you need is there, and as soon as you've got in touch with us or even just signed up for a trial, we'll make it our mission to help you along the way to ensure that there's a successful implementation and partnership.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Awesome. No, it was brilliant.
Hi, we are here with Vince Skembri
from Wowza Tech. Hey Vince, how you going?
I'm going really well, thank you very much. Thank you for saying hello.
So you're here at the Newcastle Xero Roadshow.
Yes.
I think this is the first time you have done an Australian Xero Roadshow, and you're just recently to the app market.
Yes, we are. This is actually the second show that we've done. We went to the Wollongong one as well, and we are here to launch our product. Absolutely.
So can you tell me a little bit about your product, which is WowzerTech?
Yeah, I will. Actually, it's a backup and restore of the actual data. It's very robust, and it came from my being exposed situation. What happened to me back in 2014, I was using a different accounting system, and I paid for a backup. Well, it was in a server environment. When the server crashed, they said we didn't make a backup. And I said, that's interesting. I said, well, what do I get? I got scrambled data, like scrambled eggs, basically. That's what I ended up having. So as we move forward and you're in the cloud environment, what had happened is all of a sudden I realized that the actual servers are controlled by the platform providers such as Xero or anyone else. And then actually Xero encourages us users to actually have our own backups. So my question is, what kind of backups do we have? The only thing we have is basically we download Excel or CSV files, and if you have any attachments, they're not connected. Hence our software.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Excellent. So how long does a software backup take with your solution, and how does it work?
How it works is that we have our own portal, and you go in there and you set up an account, and then you actually add your organization in there. And once you add it on, it takes only a few minutes. And so depending on the size of your file, it can take as little as a couple of hours, or it could take, say, over 2 days on the very first time. Because if the file is big, it's copying the whole file. But every day from that on, it's called an incremental backup. That means what you've actually added on, it just adds to the original. So the second day going forward, it takes no time, and it's automatic.
Is it copying the support attached documents as well?
Yes, it is. All the attachments are in the exact same spot as where they are in the original. And when you do a restore, all those attachments are also in the same spot as the original on the new file.
Can you clone a Xero file?
Well, that is basically cloning. That's what you're doing. You're actually making a backup, which is a copy of the original file with all its data, and then you take it and you put it into a new file, because Xero will not allow you to put it in the original. You have to put it into a new one, and the answer is yes.
That's amazing, I have to say.
Yeah, I know that the community has been asking for clone files for years and years and years, so it sounds like you've brought it to the community.
I have. It's a dream because of my own horrible experience. And our line is, for accountants, by accountants. I'm the accountant, right? And the other thing I want you to know as well is, because it's very prevalent now, is it's called data residency. Where does the data reside? It resides in Australia, because that's where you are. And if in my case, our data is in Canada. Why? Because that's where we are. You know, Amazon has centers all over the world, right? So it's on Amazon, but it's in the location of where you are residing.
So Alex is in the UK, so
yes,
is her
it
data?
will be in UK as well. Exactly.
So Alex is a digital nomad, so sometimes spends the time in Bali. What happens when she's connecting in Bali?
Well, she's connecting in Bali, but you got to remember our platform, right? Is where it's where it is, and because her files, right, started in the UK, they're still there. She just accesses it from somewhere else. That's all. Like me, I'm in Australia. I can access my files, but they're stored in Canada, not in Australia.
Okay.
And there's also 3 backups, by the way. There isn't one, because I became very vigilant. There's one backup in Amazon. The second one is Microsoft Azure, and we won't tell you the third one. Right? We need to make sure that we are protected, and we protect your files as well.
That's some serious backup that you have happening there.
Yes, they all happen simultaneously.
So if an accountant or a bookkeeper forms a partnership with you, do you offer them a dashboard?
Oh, there is a dashboard, absolutely. They can see all their files.
And they can see all their client files?
Absolutely.
Do you have any questions, Alex?
I do, actually. So when I launched into the wonderful cloud, one of the things I used to say to people is, you never need to do any backups.
I would say that's not true.
So and it's one of those things that it's like we tried to say that you haven't got to transfer files backward and forward. So what would you say would be the main reasons why people still do need to make a backup even though it's cloud?
Well, first of all, Xero does a fantastic job of what they do, but remember, they're an accounting software platform, and they have all these ecosystem partners, right? So the reality is they're telling you right away, we don't do all things to all people, right? And we don't want to be that. So here we are, we're saying, okay, now Xero encourages us to do a backup. Why? Because they are the platform or the mall, the shopping mall, right? And we're the little stores inside. So they secure the mall, but we need to secure our own store, our own file, right? So if you don't do that and something happens, then who's responsible? You are. And the client's not going to hold Xero responsible. Who are they going to hold responsible? You. Because you're the one that actually had it. Not to mention there's all kinds of laws as well that tell you that you better have a backup for yourself as well. And we're also taught in school to do what? Have backups. to add that one as well. I was taught that.
There weren't many computers when I was at school, so I wasn't taught that.
I was, you know what? And the paper copies had multiple copies, right? And then it got into computers, and you had the little sticks. You had multiple sticks, right, in different locations.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
True.
We're just copying it. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
If I have a relationship with the software and then it ceases, where does my data go? How long does it take before you remove it from your system?
Well, that depends on you as the customer, right? If you want a copy, we can give you a copy. Or if you want to keep it on there, we can. And obviously, because you're not doing any transactions, it'll be at a lower price. So you have a choice. And we'll let you know that. And you may say, I don't want it at all. Well, then we actually remove it. Your choice.
So when actually someone ceases business with Xero, because they've just ceased business, it's not that it's just they've ceased business, they could put a backup on your system and then go into a lower price and just put it on in some sort of hiatus.
Correct. But you have to remember something, and this is true of all cloud providers. They do upgrades, right? So remember, over time, it may not be compatible, right? Just be aware of it. The best thing is to keep it on there on an ongoing basis, so it does it on the current file, on the current version, whatever the version is.
Yeah, so I have another question.
Sure.
And mine is in particular about setting up a Xero with our features and chart of accounts. Do you think that your solution will be amazing to use in terms of cloning that template so then we can use it for other clients?
New clients. That question actually came up today as well, right? And actually my partner Mark and I back in Canada have thought of that, and that's something we're going to put down and actually probably provide it. Because what I know is each account has their own template of what they want these things to look like, and it's just like robotic to have to put them in there every single time, right? So we'll take that back and probably add it.
Do all the bank rules come across?
No, the bank rules do not come across, but we have a solution in the future for that. I just can't tell you about it now.
Okay, that's good. Thank you for that. Vince, thank you so much for talking to us today. How can people get in contact with you and WowzerTech?
Oh, here we go. It's It's www.wowzertech. That's WOWZERTECH.com.
Thank you very much, Vince. Really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm sure a lot of people will take a look at your solution. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah. And
Thank you,
are you
Alex.
going to Brisbane and the Goldie?
No, we're going to Canberra, Parramatta, and Sydney.
Sweet.
Yes.
Just get a picture of us.
Oh, that'd be
Do a
great.
selfie.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks very
I
much.
think I got
Cheers.
it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Is that everybody? Is that? Oh yeah.
That's not John.
We've done Brendan, done Nurse, we've done Expert, we've done Dext, Figured, and the end. Oh, gluten free, please. I have to go to gluten free first.
Are you going now?
No, I don't need it now, but
John.
I should get it now. That's what I did last time.
Jasmine? Where's John gone? Veronica? No. What is it? Vanessa. Jasmine. Vanessa. There he is. John. Are you ready for John?
Yeah,
That's
okay.
all right. Maybe we'll do it out here where it's quieter.
that's Dex.
Where would you like to do it?
Out here where it's quieter.
I'm just gonna. When does the food?
Oh, your stand's quiet. Is Vanessa going to take... Is she going to take phone calls? We'll do it by that and then you can take photos. Grab your
I don't know
phone.
what that means.
She's grabbing your food.
It's just because if everybody comes out, then it all goes.
Yeah.
You do it. I'm just going to put my feet.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey.
Fancy seeing you here.
So the recording is currently on. Always.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's always on, okay? So
Always
I'll just get started and just, it's pretty easy. Jump in and ask questions. Don't wait for me. Just blah, blah, blah. Okay?
Sure.
Oh, is it business fitness and you're showcasing active work
That's right.
papers?
So Active is a brand.
You could, don't jump the gun. That's what I'm going. I am here with John Munden, who is here with Business Fitness, who are promoting active work papers here at the Newcastle Roadshow, Xero Roadshow. How are you going, John?
I'm wonderful, Heather, and it's always a pleasure to see you. And your friend Alex, who's your go-to microphone holder.
Oh, this is my new job.
She's much more than that, but we're enjoying, Alex and I both have a love for the apps and the app community. From the very early days, we've been chasing them down, so it's always interesting to meet new apps who are solving problems that we knew needed solving or we didn't even know needed solving.
Well, and it's nice to be on the other side, because obviously my background was with Xero, and to be part of Business Fitness, knowing that we can deliver an experience for Xero customers, particularly with work papers, which is one of their original products, which hasn't got the as much functionality as some customers would like. We can help them with that by providing a product that is incredibly comprehensive, but also with the data now it's in the cloud, it just syncs beautifully into the Xero workflow as well.
So with that, why don't you tell us about your solution and what it does?
Oh my gosh, you're asking the wrong person really, Heather, but I will do my best. And my voice is a bit croaky because I've been like telling a million people about how amazing this new work papers are. So look, we've designed the work papers solution to take in a trial balance from Xero. And if the customers decide to make, if their journals adjust, then you can hit refresh and automatically it updates within our product as well. So you've still got all this amazing functionality within Excel. But accountants, they're not going to move away from Excel. They love Excel.
Spreadsheets.
Everyone loves a spreadsheet. So you can still work in your spreadsheet, but you've got all the benefits now of the data now living in the cloud. But also, along with that comes hyper automation and the auto reconciliation that will then exist within the work paper. So you load your source data, green ticks appear everywhere. As soon as I say green ticks to the people walking around the stand, they're like, "Oh my god, we love green ticks!" And you've got the ability to work on. You can journal inside. You can journal inside the work paper and then push the journals back into Xero, so you can still keep all of your beautiful Xero workflow and launch into Xero Tax, but do the heavy lifting in our work papers.
So you're a very animated speaker. We're trying to keep John's hands away from the microphone as he's animated. So can you share with us, Business Fitness has been around for a long time. Can you share with us some of the new features and functionalities that have come out in the last year that people may not know about?
Yeah, so Active is an incredibly dynamic new cloud solution that includes Tier 2 reporting, GPFR reporting, as well, and the ability to consolidate multiple entities as well. So if clients are on different source files like Xero or Excel or MyOb or whatever, you can consolidate all of that data. Sorry, I waved my arms around here. All that data into our platform. So we've got cool ledger reporting solution, amazing new work paper solution. We've got documents, so you can save all your source documents inside of our platform as well. We've got a really cool new workflow tool. So everyone's been trying to use Monday.com and those sort of solutions that were never designed for accountants. Well, we've built a workflow tool specifically for accountants as well. So everything integrates beautifully, and you can work with Xero, MyOb and whoever and use our platform as well. So this augments the Xero solution, it augments QuickBooks, it augments MyOb. So yeah, we're super excited, and the bigger firms have fallen over themselves to try this product out as well. So
amazing. I checked out the demo. Yeah, I did like the demo. And basically what I saw was that the spreadsheet comes through and you can see the items being reconciled, and you can make comments directly on the spreadsheet, and it's really easy and visible.
Yes.
And then you've got a page where you can make comments on the side, which I think will be helpful as a reviewer and as somebody who's preparing, which is amazing. What other features are you guys looking to bring in to help automate that process? Because still bringing in spreadsheets sometimes can be quite tricky.
So we're looking at we're building robotic process in the background to automate as much of the reconciliation process as we possibly can, and that includes finding new sources, new data sources, like the ATO, for example. Being able to pull ATO data directly into the platform.
What's ATO?
Sorry, Australian Tax Office. So, imagine HMRC, but a little bit more sophisticated.
Okay.
Then that's the ATO.
Fine.
I hope nobody from HMRC is listening. But I'm no longer living in the UK anymore, so I can say what I like.
And you don't have a national insurance payout coming?
I don't have a national... I don't know. Should I have a national insurance payout?
Yeah. I'm not giving you tax advice on a podcast.
You should give me some tax advice. It's been 10 years since I lived in the UK, so so we're trying to find more data sources to make the process even faster and even more streamlined than it currently is. And we dream of this day of being able to open up your work paper, green ticks are everywhere, and you've only maybe got 5% of the work that you currently are doing now just left to do within the work paper because it's just reconciled. So.
Can you talk to us? Alex is here from the UK. Can you talk to us from the people in the UK? Is it a solution for them? Is it yet, or is it going to be?
Oh, Heather, I love you for saying that, because yes, it's coming. We're in the process of testing the product out with a UK firm to figure out what other changes we need to make to the product in order to make it fit for purpose for the UK. And it turns out not that much, actually. So
depends on the size.
Depends on the size, but we think we'll be in the UK market within the next 6 months. And then once we start launching the UK, then we're going to start looking at Canada and the US as well.
So, and John told me on the side that he's going to be in the UK potentially May.
Yes.
So if people are in the UK listening in, reach out to John.
That's very kind of you, Heather. I would love to connect with anybody in the UK that wants to understand more about our new solution.
Fantastic.
Are you going to any conferences in May or June?
Oh, maybe. If there are,
there are two.
There are two, are there?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that would be good to know what they are, Alex. So maybe we can connect afterwards, and you can tell me about those conferences, and I can go to them. So.
Fantastic. I know. John actually almost beats the expert team who are based in Coffs Harbour for building software solution. Why don't you share with us where you're building, where the software solution is being built?
We are totally virtual, Heather. Our entire business is focused around, we're literally a global business, but with no fixed office location. So we've got team in Tasmania, in Sydney, in Brisbane, Sunshine Coast. We've even got remote worker currently over in Japan working with us as well. So as well as we're talking to teams in India. So we're literally all over the world right now.
That's fantastic.
But we don't have a fixed office location anymore.
Wow.
Because we basically decided to put our money where our mouth is, really. We are a cloud solution allowing you to work in any location, so that's exactly how we work ourselves.
Fantastic. And John is on the sunny coast.
The beautiful Sunshine Coast.
So it is amazing where people in Australia can end up living.
I live in the middle of a rainforest, kangaroos at the end of the road, and I'm like about 10 minutes from the most beautiful beaches you've ever seen. So, yeah.
I'm jealous.
Do you have any other questions there, Alex?
None for me.
John, how can people get in contact and find out more about Business Fitness?
Well, log on to our website, www.businessfitness.com.au if you're in Australia, just .com if you're outside of Australia. And there's a contact us page on that site as well. You'll be able to ask more information, but there's lots of product demonstrations on the site as well as blogs on there as well. So, we'd love to hear from anybody that wants to know more about our products and services.
Thank you so much, John. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you
very much indeed. It's lovely talking to you both.
Hello, Cam Anderson from Figured.
Hi, Heather.
Can you share with our listeners who you are and what your solution Figured does?
I'm Cam Anderson, Director of Business Growth for Figured in Australia. Our application is financial farm management, and so what we do is marry up the financial data from Xero with the economic movements on farms, such as production and livestock movements, and then we we've got the ability to create three-way forecasts based off that. So we're really in the planning space. So what I mean by three-way forecasting is P&L, cash flow and balance sheet reporting with both financial and production information.
So farms are regionally based businesses. How do they deal with connecting with the cloud?
Good question. So I think that we've seen a lot of increase in connections to the internet with the likes of Starlink from Mr. Musk. And there's actually a lot of grants available to some of these regional places that are not quite as connected as they could be to be able to access some of that technology to be able to connect them to the cloud.
That's interesting. So we're saying, okay, one of the digital strategies is getting a grant to actually get the access to stronger internet.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's worth checking out your regional body and what they've got available in that space to help you get connected.
Is that what you guys help people with, or do the accountants have to help people with the grants in this side of the world?
No, good question. I'm just saying that is available through some of the local bodies and community groups.
So Alex is asking that question about Australia. You have grant experts, but the accountant or bookkeeper may assist in pulling the financial data together, but you do then have grant experts who will do the pitch and the submission for you. Some of them are straightforward and you can, a toddler could do them. Some of them are more complex.
That's right.
And it's worth engaging a grant expert to see what's actually out there. But we divulge, or we sort of diverted off what your solution does, sort of, because there was a barrier to potentially using your solution. Does it work with farms with animals? Does it work with farms that are growing crops?
Yes, we work with both. So we work with farms that are producing milk, so dairy farms, as well as sheep and beef farms, as well as mixed operations, as well as broadacre cropping, particularly in the Australian market and North American market.
Do you think you could have revolutionised the Yellowstone Ranch if they had been using Figured?
Potentially, yeah.
Do they need to know about Figured?
I hope they already do.
So you don't know about the Yellowstone TV show?
I
Kevin?
do.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah. I don't know whether
I'm not intimately familiar.
Well, they're running at a loss at the moment. So, and Kevin Costner's about to lose the whole ranch. So you need to chase them up, get them on Figured. Do you have any questions there? So are there any features or functionalities that you brought out in the last year that we should know about?
Yeah, so we've recently bundled our scenarios product in with our light offering. So our light offering is largely a compliance tool for accountants to create efficiencies within their practice. But what the scenarios tool allows them to then do is take that annualised position and look at what that might look like over a sort of 1 to 10 year horizon. So we can do a scenario on status quo, for example, or we might look at a machinery replacement or perhaps diversification into a different farming type, and then look at what that looks like on an annualised perspective across 1 to 10 year time horizon. So in terms of being able to assess different scenarios and propositions and make decisions based off of that, that's really our strength.
Do you find that the accountants and bookkeepers who partner with you completely specialise in the farming or regional space?
Good question. So there are practices in regional Australia who are specialists in the agri space or who have a vertical service line into the agri space. But similar to New Zealand, a lot of our accounting practices in Australia are sort of general practitioners. So they will have a handful of farms that they look after rather than being sort of specialists in that space.
Do you, for the accountant or bookkeeper who's sitting there who has one farm client who's come on board, do you provide them with the support and assistance to assist them in rolling out for them?
Absolutely. So we'll help. We have a direct-to-farmer channel as well as a accounting partner channel. So partners have the ability to obviously partner with us, which gives them access to our partner program, which grows as they grow, and they can access additional benefits such as marketing incentives, branding, that kind of thing, as well as joint client events. But in terms of the key sort of for us would be going via and scaling via partner accounting firms that specialise largely in agri.
Initially, I've got one question for you in terms of the UK. Will your solution work overseas? Is it going to work in the UK?
Yeah, good question. So we're about 35,000 farms globally. So the bulk of those are in New Zealand. Then we've got Australia, UK, Ireland, and the US and Canada and North America.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it will work over in the UK. So there's a lot of commentary that we've got a potential downturn that's a reality, and that will really impact the farmers as well as the global warming and the various weather events that we've been having. Are you seeing farms take on this solution and improve their profitability or improve their stability?
Yep, so not only profitability, but being able to have that sort of clarity and confidence to make decisions into the future. So particularly if we're looking at, say, a succession situation, what does that look like for the next generation? So we're farming a system, what is this going to look like in the next generation? Is it going to be someone within the family? Are we going to sell? Are we going to create a corporate structure where perhaps some of the siblings of the current generation sit in an advisory capacity across that farm and employ a farm manager? So we see a lot of different scenarios, but what we like to be able to do is provide that certainty that's backed with data to be able to make those decisions with confidence.
My understanding is that farmers love data, which is a bizarre thing, but they're supposedly obsessed with data.
Well, the ag tech space is fascinating. I mean, we've got drones that can hover across paddocks and identify weeds within a grass field and actually, specifically spray them. We're looking at, very cool.
Wow, that's so cool.
Drone security, the technology that's on modern farming equipment is pretty interesting. We've also got a lot of in the space of sort of fenceless farming and animal health monitoring through collars. So there's a lot happening in the space.
Well, I don't really know that much about farming because it's not really my area, and so I was worried to ask questions, but now I'm like, wow, there's so much technology, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And in terms of drones, when we had those massive floods back in March 2022, one of the things was the drones went into the regional areas to drop the medication.
Yeah.
So they were like, boom, 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 boom. So, it is amazing what drones just, they're not just for photographing waterfalls and losing in the ocean. They're amazing. So, how can people get in contact with you and with Figured?
So they can go and visit our website, so that's www.figured.com, and there will be a get in touch form available on there, whether they're an accounting partner or a farmer. We've also got a chat bubble where they can speak to us directly, and they'll be connected in with the right person to help them with what they're looking for.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on the Cloud Stories podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed listening to that episode of Cloud Stories podcast. Can I encourage you to subscribe to the episode so you never miss an episode? And if you leave us a review or let us know what you think somewhere, share it on social media, share it on Instagram, we'd really love that. That really helps us out. Thank you.